we're gonna try a little bit of a repair on this and see if we can't make it look great, because this stupid rubber piece is like $800 if you order a replacement. But if I can't fix it, then we'll go ahead and replace it. But I think I have something that we're gonna try that just might do the trick. I may also, on the other side of this bumper right here, you can see this isn't fitted right. Somebody obviously broke the clip off and just screwed that in there. So we may order replacements of this, which actually does come with the clips, and it only goes from here to here. So it'll replace the clip and replace that rubber and look relatively perfect. I do think that this chrome will clean up just fine. We do have some scratches and nicks in it, and those are never going to be perfect, but this stuff is really stupid expensive, so we're going to make do with what we have and try to clean it up as best we can. Alright, first we start with these little plastic pieces in here, and you just use a screwdriver to kind of work them out. You might have to work them from the top and the bottom, but these just pull out like that, and once those come off, that's what's holding this in here.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
And you can see these just spread out the little plastic to make them grab into the holes.
That's what she said.
Alright, so this part is held on by clips. One here, one about here. And you have to get it pulled away because you have bolts that hold this on back there. We're going to do what we can to try to not pull those clips off of our rubber. And I can see this is already pretty rusted out. So these could be a lost cause.
Today, Junior?
And that's what you don't want to do.
Well, it's about damn time.
Which is pull these clips out of here. However, because this is so rusted, wasn't really holding them in very well either. Maybe we'll have more luck on the second one.
That's all I have to say about that.
Well, it doesn't really seem like these are going to come out with those clips. So, and this clip is totally missing.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
So we have it pulled away. We could just take these bolts off, and that's pretty much all there is to this bumper. Now that the bumper's off, you can see the things that are holding this plastic piece on. There's one here, and one here, and then it looks like there's a bracket right here that holds this in. Unless we can pop that out, we're gonna have to see what that does when we get to it. But let's try those 3 bolts first. I hate to jinx myself, but let's be honest, that seemed way too easy. So there has to be other bolts here somewhere. Let's see what we can find.
8 hours later.
And as I suspected, it was too easy. There is a bolt in here. I don't know if I'll be able to get at it with a ratchet. Doesn't look like it. Now apparently we've got a bolt right here that I'm gonna attempt to get at with a wrench underneath. So let's see how that goes. All right, I got the 2 off on this side, the one in there and the one underneath. And I got the 2 off in this side, the one there and the one underneath. So I think this thing might actually just come free now.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
We just have a connector down here, which is for a temperature sensor that apparently is no longer available and never works anyway.
You remember the last couple of weeks I kept saying, can I have a couple minutes of your time to talk to you about something? This is what it was about.
So instead of trying to replace this bumper piece with an extremely expensive one, we're going to attempt to build this piece. It's right here.
On you schnorrers! Do something!
We know what it's supposed to look like because the other side is still intact. But we're going to use metal tape to form the inside shape. Then we're going to create the piece using baking soda and super glue. Then once we have the rough outline shape of the actual piece, which is quite thick, we use some Bondo and finalize it, make it look perfect.
Oh, it's super easy.
And then once we have that done, we'll probably stabilize the inside with some sort of metal framing or something just to make sure that it doesn't snap off. But we want to make sure it gets enough purchase on these areas here anyways. If we do that, we shouldn't have any problems. And then, hopefully, we'll have a piece that looks good. We'll paint the whole bumper so that, yeah, it looks awesome. We'll see. That's the plan. Not today's plan, but a plan.
I love it when a plan comes together.
So what we're going to try to do is create this piece, because this rubber bumper piece is 900 bucks.
What a piece of junk!
Now, it's not that I don't think it's worth 900 bucks. It's actually a very well-made piece. It's very nice. However, I'm pretty sure this is the original, and I'm guessing whatever they send you these days is nowhere near this quality. And if I can save this one, well, it's going to save me a lot of money. At least 800 bucks. So, we're going to see if we can't repair this and rebuild this rubber piece right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this aluminum tape, and we're going to create a shell here for our new part creation, our extended part creation. So it should be pretty simple.
He didn't just say what I think he did he?
Now this may come as a shock to you out there in my audience, but I've never done this before. I have no idea if this is going to work.
Michael, you know better than that.
We're all going to learn together. And this is just your standard aluminum tape. And we're just going to get roughly the correct outline here. And we are kind of lucky because the other side of this is very much intact. Now, needless to say, we're going to be able to shape this later much better. I feel like this is probably going to be what we need.
Let me tell you about it, stud.
Alright, so we have our aluminum tape on here, and it's in the relative shape that we want. What we're going to do is we're going to put down a layer of baking soda, and then we're going to soak that baking soda with some super glue all the way around. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to try to move our way up and rebuild this piece. Alright, so when you put this on, it gets very hot. And you can kind of tell that it's done drying when it's not hot anymore.
Ooh, hot. Oh, hot. Yeah, right. That's hot. That is hot.
And you can see that feels like it's pretty much on there.
They're not going anywhere.
It also has, you know, some flexibility, which I think is awesome. That's what makes this such a unique style of repair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to shape this. Now, I'm not going to remove the aluminum tape from the back because I want to make sure that the plug stays in. And if the plug were to fall out...
Look, I see what you're trying to do.
After I shape it up, you know, when I remove the aluminum tape, that's okay, because then I can rough up the back and fiberglass the plug in, and we still have a usable plug. So even if it doesn't stay in after I remove the aluminum tape, it's alright. The whole point here is to have the proper shaped plug. So we're gonna give it a shot, try to shape this up and see what we get. Well, the hard work is done. Before I paint, let's get the chrome and the rubber inserts all cleaned up. Alright, so I stripped down the chrome bumper piece on the front, and it doesn't look half bad. I think it's kind of interesting because I'm not totally sure that this is actually chromed. If we look back here, you can see that's a pretty doggone thick bumper there. Pretty thick bumper.
That thick?
So this might actually be just polished. And if that's the case, then we should be able to get some pretty nice results and maybe even polish out some of these nicks and everything else that are in it. Make it look real nice.
Right, that'll work.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it up with steel wool and soap and see how clean we can get it. And then maybe we'll work on polishing this thing up. See if we can make it look practically new. It's going to be perfect? No, it's got scratches here that are too deep.
Ha! Told ya!
It's got a scratch here and here and here that are too deep to be perfect. It'll look pretty good. With some polishing, some of the pitting that's run through here and stuff will disappear. The pitting up here will disappear. So then we'll just have the deeper scratches, which there's not much we can really do about unless we're going to just replace the piece. Now, as far as the rubber surrounds go, this rubber surround, put a self-tapper in there to hold it down, and it's missing here, and if I'm being honest, these are in pretty bad shape. However, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that with a little body working and replacement of the hardware and some paint, these could come around.
Sure, Jan.
I think I'm definitely going to replace this one right here. This one, however, still seems like it's in pretty decent shape. So I may reuse this one and repaint it. I don't know. We'll see how much these are. If they're easily replaceable, then I'll just replace them. So what do we have here? These are the rubber bumpers that fit up right on front of our metal bumper. So all these fittings and everything fit it right in. And they're old. I did order replacements for these. I got them for about 170 bucks. But then the company told me, oh, they have to order them from Germany. So I always question whether we're actually going to get them or not when that happens.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So I figured I'd try my hand at refinishing these either way. This one right here, in the infinite wisdom of the previous owner, there's supposed to be a bolt that comes out here that you screw into the bumper. But at some point, obviously, that bolt came out. And so instead of ordering a replacement, he just used a self-tapping screw right here to screw it into the bumper.
Oh, wow!
So I used the same treatment that I did on our other bumper piece with super glue and baking soda and kind of recontoured this, filled it all in right there, and it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the same super glue trick. We're going to waller that out so that we can get this bolt seated deep in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and drill some holes.
There's some holes in this house.
In this flat base plate here, and we're going to use the super glue trick with some baking soda, and we're going to see if we can't stick that in there.
That's what she said.
Make it permanent and reuse these bumpers. Then we're going to use Plastidip, which I've never used before.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
To try to recoat them so they look good. I have no idea how this is going to go. Hopefully it turns out okay, but if it doesn't, like I said, I do have new ones on order anyways, so this is just mostly for me to see what can be done. So let's get to work. So there it is, all nestled down in its little home.
That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
All that's left to do is for us to clean this up and then glue it in. So what I think I'm going to do is baking soda inside there, and then I'm going to super glue this, and then we're going to squeeze it in there like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing right here, trying to fill in all the gaps, make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. So in order for this newly painted bumper to fit, we're gonna have to clearance it.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Around our pipes in here. Which is another reason why I wanted to just restore this bumper as close as I could, rather than ordering a new bumper and cutting it all up. So we'll have to trim some of this stuff out in order to be able to slide this back and get it on. I'm going to try to cut as little as possible, obviously. I'd like this to be a stealthy install. There's a lot less that has to get cut over here on this side, but there's a little more right here that's got to get removed. So I guess I'm going to have to stop procrastinating and just get this done. So I reconfigured the piping over here once again on this side, because it was definitely interfering a little bit too much with the bumper, to the fact that I don't want to trim this any more than I have to. So now we are pretty much at the point where the top of the bumper fits in, and I just have to go in here and lightly trim out a couple of spots, basically from here to here.
Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
That'll push that back in a little bit, and on this side as well, we're really close. So I won't have to trim as much as I was expecting to have to trim now. It's gonna be pretty good. With everything fitted up here, I think it is time for us to go ahead and put this bumper back on. With all of our intercooler piping run and everything is fitted properly. So yeah, let's put this back on. Now look at that. I'm not a bodywork guy, and it's definitely not perfect. But I'll tell you what, it looks pretty doggone good. Now, why would I spend all this time, energy, and money on this old beat up 733 that's not worth anything?
Because you're an idiot.
Well, it could only be for the love of cars. And if this idiot can figure this stuff out, I know you can too. So go out there, find that car that's been sitting in the field for years that you love, bring it home, put it back on the road. It's so much fun. And I'll see you guys in the next video.